That's great. So first of all, we don't always race. You just said race you there, and then you like left before you were done with your sentence. So I thought that was the error because and Firefox isn't working for me. So I'm just saying. But I think we did pretty well. We'll call
Was
it.
there,
I
was
saw
there a
you
Zoom
first.
race? What was this?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a
there
Zoom
was
race. So
Zoom
basically,
race.
Michelle and I, when we were on another call before stand-up, then we raced to get to the stand-up call, and Michelle always wins no matter what. And today I thought I was going to catch her because I was like, race you, and then I just stopped it, and then she still
Yes,
won.
she did. No, I saw
Okay,
you first. I saw you when I signed on. So it's just lag for you.
Tie. Anyway,
We're
how's
both
everyone
there.
doing? What's
How is
what's going
everyone
on?
else doing? How your Zoom races going?
No one else.
These new competitive tasks that I hadn't ever
We
imagined
find new
before.
guys. Michael. Oh, Michael.
We find new
from-
ways, David.
Yes.
Sorry, other Mike. Sorry, Mike. New Mike.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? You're Yale? Are you...
I am, yeah.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
Hey.
Monty, do you prefer Michael then?
Yeah, Michael's preferred, thank you.
Alright.
Yeah.
So what's the history behind Moti?
Oh, it's my legal name. So it's my mother's from Israel, and that's where it comes from. But people have difficulty pronouncing it, so I decided to adopt Michael. So either one is fine, but Michael's preferred.
So my
Okay.
legal name is Michelle, the female version of Michael. The name I was born with is Michal.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
So, yes.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Similar
Cool.
story.
Well, Sinead and Finola know my real name. It's like Meadhbh.
Mm.
But I adopted Maeve because no one can say that, not even in Ireland.
Okay.
So there we are. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we're all here. Oh, every time I say that, then somebody else joins. Hi, James. And Jason. Okay. Wow, these meetings are just growing.
That's great.
It's
It's
beautiful.
really good. It's really good. Okay, well, I've asked how everyone's doing. It's not really a place that you can say, like, I'm not doing so great. So maybe you can always just reach out afterwards, or, you know. But for now, I think we're going to just follow the traditional stand-up, well, the new version of the stand-up, which is
Does
that
everybody know the new version of the stand-up? No,
where
okay.
we talk about the...
All right, we're going to ambush you all with the new version of the stand-up. Is everybody ready? Sorry, mate. One, I wanted to just introduce Jody's new role and like say, you know, we're going to be coordinating on project management with Jody as well now, which is great that we're getting some projects.
Actually has formal project guys. She's it's going to eclipse what Michelle and I have done. No, she's going to build on what Michelle has done, and we're very excited to have Jody and her experience along with us. Sorry, Michelle, carry on.
No, that was all I had to say. And do you want to take this new structure on, or?
Can you remind me how the new structure works, please?
Okay, so what we're going to try and do is, because we do have a lot of new members, and because we're going to try and like keep teaching moments to teaching contexts, one thing we'd love is if people could bring to stand up with them kind of one thing they've learned in the, you know, between now and the last stand up, and learned or experienced or discovered, something like that. And then we'll check in on how each team is doing with their work. And we'll figure out what needs to be addressed. We won't go into the thing that needs to be addressed. We'll figure out what problems and obstacles need to be solved right now. And we'll figure out like who is going to solve them with people, like what the next step will be. And we will leave those next steps for later. So we won't actually go into code and troubleshooting code, other than on like setting up, that was my understanding. Correct me all if you, okay. So we will set up specific times to have conversations about the code and to move forward with the blockers.
And also that this is
questions. This is a questions. Thumbs sideways is questions. Thumbs up. It's no questions. Thumbs up or sideways.
And we should point out that there will be such a point to ask
Modi,
the,
I'm asking you this too. What? Sorry, David, go
we
ahead.
should point out there will be such a point to ask the more technical questions as we move
Yes.
into training Tuesday after this.
Yes, there will also be that. Yeah. it's true.
And that also, this is we're trying this out, so it's very much, if you have comments or if you have improvements or suggestions, we're very open to getting that.
And-
we're just a new
yeah.
thing that we're trying out.
Yeah, and we're
And
gonna.
I'm just
Go ahead. Go ahead,
I'm just
David.
doing a lot of ands. And all the students, if you could make sure you got me a link to your shared timesheets. So that's just a Google sheet. If you know who you are, if you need to keep hours, please get those to me.
So it may.
Are we doing everybody every week, every day? Everybody's coming with something new, or are we breaking it up? We're giving some people a
by
break.
team.
Team on, team off.
If people want to do it by, I don't know, by team, raise one hand. If people want to do it, just individuals, raise two hands. I don't know. Thumbs up is too loaded. One hand,
So wait,
one hand.
what's the one hand?
Team. One hand
Teams.
is by
Okay,
team,
yeah, okay.
which is the opposite of what I should have done.
We've got
but-
Mia and James voting for teams. Mike's on teams. Oh, no. Mike's on teams, yeah.
Everybody should
Jack's on teams.
participate. Right. Modi?
Right.
Modi?
Okay.
Everyone wants teams.
Madi
Not
isn't on a team.
Not on a team yet.
Madi is not on a team. Ishan is not on a team.
Vincent to everyone. Oh, chat. Okay. Team. Jack and Vincent are saying team. Okay, so
I
we'll
think
do it by team.
resounding thing is team. The thing that we have to point out is that Madi and Michael too. Michael, I don't know. This okay.
So they'll be individual. You're gonna get put on the spot. Jody, are you on a team?
But they haven't learned anything yet. They
Or-
don't. They need to.
They may not
Jody's
have
on the-
something to share yet. That's very,
Oh,
very good
okay.
point.
That's fair.
Sorry, they don't have. Sorry, they haven't. They've learned a lot of stuff, I think. But I think that Jody's on the admin team, so she won't be involved with this. So and Sinead, Sinead and Fanola are. Oh,
Michael Cronin usually
we're
goes
gonna have
by Michael.
Cronin.
Sorry.
Cronin.
All
Yeah, we'll
right.
have Cronin and Mike. Okay, I'm so
Sounds
sorry.
good.
It's been a really long day. Okay, so so Jody's on the admin team. Sinead and Fanola are on a team at the moment, but they actually haven't really had much time to get to grips with stuff. They're going to be learning more stuff and teaching Tuesdays coming up because they had a docx to program. So the teams that we have are really the existing teams, and then I'm wondering if Mike and Ishan can be paired up on a team that we can talk about at 1. But that's something we'll figure that out off the call perhaps. So do we have any brave teams to talk about something that they've discovered? And I'm thinking the one that I worked with was Mia, Jack, and I think Vinny might have picked up on what we were doing. I know that they've learned something. So I'm wondering if I can just volunteer them for the first session. And then you guys, everyone else has a bit of a time to like figure out what they can talk about in the next sessions. Is that okay?
Yes, go. Mia and Jack.
And Vinny is also part of that team, but I wasn't part of the call, so I'm not sure if have you guys updated him on what?
They've updated me.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect. Great.
So you're gonna be spokesperson, or
Oh, okay.
no? I'm joking. I don't have to put you on the spot. Is anybody comfortable speaking about what they've learned?
Well, Mia's team leader, but I can help out. I can talk about it. She is actually, but
Okay.
we did so we really got our interview working with the exact question about having the or having the conditional language so that if you want to be an emergency, it will add emergency next to the motion. So we got that to work, and it runs through and it sends you the email. It sends you in the PDF, so it works perfectly. There's a couple little bugs like we were bug testing this morning. You have like a whole list of things that if you click no, it'll kick you out. Certain things like that. But we're kind of listing that now. But for you can still run right through it and get the PDF with the emergency or non-emergency language. So we're pretty happy.
Cool.
Caroline, are you saying something?
And
No.
and
just-
what's something that you learned that was helpful in getting you there?
So I think it was really helpful. I think Maeve put it into the assembly line code thread, the entire thread, but we did learn how to add a question that was not originally in the when you run it through the wizard, you wanted to add something on top of that. it is kind of finicky. So it's like how to do that was really helpful. And I also learned to make sure you're not in the default playground. So I had that problem for a little bit, and so make sure you're in the MA playground. But definitely it's in the code, assembly line code thread about how to add a new question that wasn't in the wizard. So that's very helpful.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Are we doing one team per day, or are we doing?
Yes. No, that's going to be so much pressure. And then we get days off.
What he said about the server? I wasn't clear about what he said about the server.
About being in the playground?
He didn't say anything about the server. He was saying that you want to be in the project that where you pulled the where you pulled the branch from.
Oh, not the default playground.
Right, not the default.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I just didn't hear it.
I was accidentally in the default playground, so I had to switch back. That was my main issue for a bit.
I think that's a good thing to point out to people, because it can be confusing.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at, I think the way to go forward is to have one team a day, perhaps for now, for this week, as we're trying it out. I think that it's going to be too much. I mean, I don't know. What if you think one team a day, raise your hand. Okay.
Good.
Majority is one team a day. Great. So tomorrow's team, I'm gonna put them on the spot, but Sinead and Finola, we're doing the DocX training this afternoon now, and you're gonna have learned some stuff. So perhaps just bear in mind that tomorrow you're gonna have to come with something, and you can't steal it from the lesson. I mean, you may be able to, but we'll see. Okay. And this is just something we're trying out. If it doesn't work, if people are feeling like they're getting put on the spot or whatever, then we can definitely move forward and try something else. So the next step of the meeting is what, Michelle? Can you remind me?
To identify blockers and what the next step for those blockers are for each team.
So does anybody have any blockers? And if you need an example of what a blocker is.
What are your blockers? Or like, what do you have to work on next? I think is maybe a better question. If that's okay. Mia?
I have construction outside my apartment, so if there's like background noise, sorry. But I'm just curious about the changing the order of the interview, and because the general questions that like populate into the interview, as opposed to the ones that the wizard created, and changing the order of those. I think I'm confused on. I don't know if Jack and Vinny know how to work on that, but I don't know how to do that or change the order of the questions.
Perfect. Okay, Jack and Vinny.
That was actually one of my questions as well. Mia just kind of went ahead.
Stole
and
it.
Yeah, she did.
Okay. All right. And Jack, do you feel you have an answer to that you can impart?
I think, not off the top of my head, but I do remember I think it was last Teaching Tuesday kind of touched on that. We might have to just relook at that, but I don't think it'll be too big of a blocker.
Do any of the other people on the other teams feel like they might have a handle on how to do that? All right. I'm hearing a no. Cool. That is totally okay. Just taking temperature of the room. Okay. So do y'all want to try that for a bit as a team? Give it like half an hour and then report back on the progress you make? Okay.
As Jack said, it was covered in the last Teaching Tuesday, but it might be a bit more specific, or you might have to do a little bit more looking into the documentation about. I'm not sure if Quentin has something else he wants to add.
I can put something on the Slack, which I just put together last night, a list of all of the built-in variables that we have that might help with that. So I'll put that on the assembly line code Slack. It could be a starter for you're trying to figure out which variable name to change if that's the place where you're stuck.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other blockers, or does everyone have an action item?
What's the next team? I think might be right. Who is the next another team?
Jason, James. Eleni is not on this call.
Okay, so Jason and James.
Don't fight over who's okay.
Sorry, yeah, we have we're gonna meet with Quentin tomorrow morning to work on some stuff. We want to make certain interview pages conditional on like a yes to another interview page. So that's kind of our big thing we're working on right now.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
that sounds good. And I think that's something that maybe not as detailed, or maybe you could just share the outcome of that, like I did in the Assembly Line Code channel. I really went into quite a bit more detail with Mia and Jack and Vinny, but I kind of made it more general for that channel so that it wasn't as specific. It could probably be applied a little bit better. Okay, that sounds good. And then Mike Tyler is not on this call, so it's just Mike Cronin. It's just up to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we're just having issues with conditional statements as well. So actually, if it's okay with Quinn, I could hop on that call tomorrow as well, because I would just like to get some insight in how to work it.
Yeah, that sounds good. And we can talk about whether it's good to record that, everybody's comfortable. Then it can be something everyone can look at later too. But
yeah,
definitely should be
that'll
open
be great.
to anybody who's on this call to join.
Really good questions, guys. Really good questions. It's awesome. Like you're
So now-
asking coder questions. I'm super excited. Sorry, go ahead, Maeve.
So now we've got Jody's on the admin team, and the update from Jody, I think, is really that we're just going to be working on project plan stuff, right? Is that? I mean, there's nothing else that we're just her 2 hours are going to be focusing on project management. So from a coding side, there's not much from Jody yet, but project management side is looking good.
How about
so
the people that aren't on a team? Do we know what the next step with them is?
What Sinead and Finola, they're gonna join the Teaching Tuesday, right? That's coming up now, and they're gonna learn about programming a docx form, and that's the thing that they've got that David kindly drew up for them. So I think the next step for them is going to be to, I know for a fact because I was on a call with them that they've gone through the videos, so they're up to date, the Teaching Tuesday videos, and now the next step is to go through this third video that we're having now, the call that we're having at 1. And from there, I think maybe tomorrow morning, you two can work together to program that. I'll be around, Michelle will be around from about 11 your time, and then we can figure out if there's any issues, or we can have some report back. Another thing that I mentioned is that Sinead and Finola are obviously in Ireland and they're on different time zones, but it would be really great if they can get incorporated into work that we're doing. So say, for example, that call about conditional formatting, conditional statements, if we could if that's something that they would be interested in, getting them on that call and integrating everybody as much as we possibly can. Because I think that's going to be one of the benefits of this project is really making connections. The last people is, sorry?
Are they doing the notice of, they're doing the notice of limited appearance, right?
Yeah.
Feel free to message me if you have like substance questions about that form.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention, Kate, specifically, was that Finola was looking at GBLS when she was initially looking at Boston. So I said that maybe it would be a good idea for her to talk to you just about your work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Because Suffolk is very good with telling students about alternative paths outside of law practice, but not every university is like that, and it might be good if we can get some experience like that for everyone else. So then the last people that we have here are Mati and Ishan, who are not from Suffolk, but who would like to volunteer and are interested. Mati, are you interested in the coding aspect of this?
Yeah, I don't have any coding experience, but
that's perfect.
Really
That's just how we like it.
Okay.
Michael's a coder because he coded yesterday. He made things.
That's true. I do have 1 hour throughout my life of coding experience.
Brilliant. So you're it's way better. And Ishan has done the Teaching Tuesday tutorials, and then you're joining for the third one today, Ishan.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what I'm thinking is that we can maybe perhaps pair Muddy and Ishan up after this. I think they'll probably Muddy needs 2 more videos to catch up on, and then we can pair them up on a form. Is that something that we could possibly do? I'm looking at David and Quentin and Michelle.
Thinking of like another form to combine forces on, essentially.
Yeah.
Michael he should be caught up with Teaching Tuesday, so.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Because he was in our session yesterday.
I guess
Brilliant.
That's the thing.
Okay.
We didn't end up spending a lot of time. It sounds like the idea of other things than forms didn't really take off on our call yesterday. So I think it should be another form.
Request for counsel.
Kate, do you have any ideas?
Request
about
for
which one?
counsel and a
Request for counsel?
guardianship.
Sounds
It's
like
very
that's the one.
simple. Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Laura
And
will
that
be
can stay
so
a PDF,
happy.
right? Because you're not going to need a lot of extra text in
Yeah.
there. No
Yeah.
appendix.
I mean,
or anything.
because we didn't want kind of beginners on the emergency one, right? Was that you were going to do that, right, Quentin?
I looked at it, and it's actually, I mean, we'll probably finish it on our call today, but
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So is it the guardianship of minor request for appointed counsel?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link that to, I'll start a chat with Maria and Ishan, and I'll link that to you too. And after Teaching Tuesday, maybe we can just have a chat about that. See how I can help out, and maybe Kate might be able to assist.
Yeah, that's like I mean, I'm biased. It's like a pet issue of mine on that form. So definitely feel free to ask me questions.
You are in the room where it happens, so you get to have a say.
Yeah, so feel free to ask me about that form. Anything.
Okay, brilliant. So then I think that that covers everything that I actually wanted to deal with. So is there any other issues that maybe Michelle, David, Quentin, Caroline, Kate that I'm looking at wanted to raise?
I think I'll check with you, Kate, but I think it'd be I think we've got stuff on mass legal help for appointed counsel and guardianship cases, and I think it's, as always, I always think it's good to read the context before you start working on the form.
Yeah, that's
I'll just add it to the card as context.
That would be great. Thank you, Caroline. I can actually link you the card right now so that you can easily find it.
I don't know if now's the time, but at some point I want to check on the 209A and like what the next steps are with that. If we're starting to like, kind of head Quentin towards other forms, like what are we planning for the 209A? So.
I mean, I think we could talk about that a little bit now. So I think the 209A merge that we just did this morning is installed on the test server now. That had a lot of really important things for us to get it into the hands of beta testers. And then my plan is just over the next week or so to finish the review screens. There are going to be bugs that come in. I think it's going to be more in a maintenance mode now, basically, where we're going to do fixes at a less urgent pace.
And Kate, you should inform the folks who have it now about the updates from today's merge. The primary one that they'll find useful is that you can send the signature to people.
Okay, good, because I knew that was like a big thing people were asking about, so that'll be good. I'll tell them.
All right, so.
And then just for some quick context, what we're really looking for is we're waiting for those advocates to actually file some of these with the court. And then once they've filed them with the court and and gotten some result, then that's sort of logistically when we have reached a milestone where we might be able to ask for, it is a political milestone that we will then use to the benefit of additional motion. Think of it this way: if we're in private beta now, that's the first step that we need to take before we can ever even think about a public beta. That confirmation of something actually going and the court taking in, people being able to give that feedback. And then from there, it's probably a pretty short move to thinking about a wider release to advocates.
So the flow is basically settled, correct?
Are you talking about?
The
like
flow
the
of the
flow?
209A.
Testing? Is that kind of the push there?
I think Caroline's still I think we're still making some adjustments to some things. Caroline and I had a Zoom call yesterday where we were making some edits about kind of how the impoundment interacts, because we realized that was pretty confusing, how the impoundment interacts with the rest of the form, and just implementing the feedback we've been getting along the way from the different reviewers.
I've got a branch with the language started, and then I've got a little to-do list. I was doing a few little things. I can't remember what they are at the minute, but I think it's things I can't quite figure out how to do. I was going to ask you, Quentin, how to do them.
Most of it was language.
If you want, you can ask me and see if I can get them far enough.
Yeah.
If we're trying to,
Yeah, no, I get it. I think one of them was this idea of, can we move defendant gender up to the same screen as defendant name? one of them is another. I mean, I don't know if you want me to try. So they are little
No,
bitty
we're
things.
not going to go into them
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
what I'm saying. So they
Yeah.
are some little bitty things. I think they are Quentin specific, Michelle.
Okay, because the one you described, I can do.
Yeah, I can do it too, but I'm just saying, is this something that this is a big issue because it's the basic questions, YAML, right? So do we want to do that in basic questions?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I can answer that quickly and say we don't need to change it there. If we want to change something, we can override it with a different version of the question. So that's always an option that we should have.
Okay.
But I think we can set aside some time. I think it was really helpful before to work through that. And I think we can, when you're ready to do that and we have like an hour that we need to finish that up and merge the changes, I'm happy to.
Okay. So, yeah.
Let's pick a time.
I think the other stuff I think I can do. There was one other funny little thing.
All right. So, sorry. Ow, I just dropped something on my foot, which is.
I just want to say Jody did some testing on the 209A, which was incredibly helpful and reminded me of a bug that, I don't know that it's a bug, but it's an issue that I think Quentin, you thought was resolved and I didn't think it was resolved. So we may have to go back to that again.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great, really comprehensive test. So thanks.
Yeah, she did a great job on that. You did a great job on that.
Thank you. Sorry, it was so random.
No, it was perfect.
No, that's just what we need.
It was perfect. It caught a lot of stuff that we needed.
And yeah, the idea that there's something we might already know about is fine. We're used to having duplicates of things. It's better to make sure we catch it than to not catch it.
Yeah, that's the general rule about reporting issues, is that rather report the issue than don't report it.
And also rather report the issue than ask about reporting it. I think is also I guess that's more, sorry, that's coming
okay,
in
the first
like
time. You don't know when.
test. Yeah, no worries. There's always that question the first time, and the first few times it's kind of intimidating. But just as a general thing, like for testing for people who are testing, because otherwise the question comes up a lot. So it's a joke from our testing team, and that didn't make any sense in here. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Okay, so we got 3 more minutes to wrap up before we go into Teaching Tuesday. So is there any other issues that anybody wants to raise? Nope, we're all good. How long am I supposed to wait, Michelle? I've got to count it out.
5 to 10 seconds, but that's okay.
It feels so long. I'm just sitting and staring at silence.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, right. Well, we've got Teaching Tuesday that Quentin has prepared. So I think there are some people on here who might not need to be on here. If that's you, jump on off. It was great to see you.
I have a standing unit meeting for my real job, so I gotta go.
Finola, you need to stay. Don't wave. Okay, bye, Kate.
I was saying goodbye to Kate.
Okay. That wasn't clear. Jody, I don't think you're needed unless you want to stay. I mean, everyone's invited to stay for this. It's just that if you're not coding, then it might not be worthwhile. And it's also recorded. If you do have another call, it's recorded, and we'll link that in the chat as well. Over to you, Quentin.
I don't know. You guess still 2 minutes to
right,
other people
right.
might.
2 minutes. Got 2
2
minutes.
minutes for
other people might jump in from the
Can I
Slack.
ask a question then?
Yes, Jody, go.
Professor Colarusso, I sent you a Slack chat, so if you can look at it and.
Is there a new one since the one I responded to?
Yeah, I'm asking about if we have any access to use Microsoft Project.
That's an interesting question. I don't know the answer to.
I don't need that. Probably just me and May. So 2 licenses. If there's any way we can get it, if like the school already has it, that would be ideal. But
yeah, that's the only way it would happen.
Yeah. If not, then we'll figure something else out.
Okay. I will inquire.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So formal with Professor. I'm always like, hey, David.
Yeah, no, in this context, it's fine to call me David.
Are you sure?
I think I told Jody that if she's ever in one of my classes, we can revisit
It's
that.
harder
But
because I'm older than a lot of the other students and I've worked in the real world. And so it's so much harder for me to like get in the habit of like calling everyone professor. And so I always screw that up. So
My mother taught at my elementary school and I had to call her Mrs. Stoner.
wow.
No favoritism.
Did you do that at home too?
No, just at school. And actually, she took my reading group when I was 6 years old and asked me to look at a word again. I was in the top reading group, but somehow your mother tells you to look at a word again. I burst into tears and ran out into the hall sobbing. She said, that's the last time I ever try to teach you in school. It was a disaster.
Oh god, that's so funny. We're just visiting some. Oh, okay. Sorry, I've got one more.
Okay.
We got one more person coming. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Where's Mariah? I'm hoping
There's Mariah.
Oh, she's coming? Okay, good.
No, there she is. She's there.
Good.
I'm here.
I
Hi.
don't see it. Oh, there you are. Hi, Mariah.
Hi.
All right.
We're just waiting for Alex.
Okay,
She should be jumping on now. People keep moving around, but I don't know.